It's finally happening. The heavens are stirring, the sky is preparing to veil the sun, and the universe itself is whispering warnings to those who have ears to hear. This is no ordinary solar eclipse. This is not just the dance of light and shadow across the firmament. This is a divine checkpoint, a cosmic alarm bell, a trumpet blast echoing across dimensions. The sun, the great lamp of heaven, will be swallowed by shadow, if only for a fleeting moment, but in that fleeting moment, the destinies of the chosen will be weighed, tested, and refined. You already feel it in your bones, don't you? That trembling undercurrent in your spirit, that unshakable restlessness, that strange knowing that something more than science is unfolding. This eclipse is the handwriting on the sky, spelling out your spiritual exam. For the chosen, it is not about whether the light disappears, it's about what you do when it does. Do not be fooled by the silence of the moment. Do not be lulled into thinking it is merely a beautiful spectacle to photograph and forget. This is the hour where heaven bends close to see if you are awake, if you're aligned, if you're ready to step through the door God is opening, or if you will stumble, blinded by distraction, into the very snare meant to derail your calling. The eclipse is not hiding the sun. It is exposing your soul. It is heaven's magnifying glass, intensifying the fire of your faith, burning away illusion, showing God what you are made of. Chosen one, understand this. Everything you have been enduring, every test, every delay, every strange stirring in your spirit has been preparing you for this. And yet, one wrong move, one careless mistake during this sacred alignment could unravel months, even years of divine preparation. You cannot afford to treat this as ordinary. The universe has set the stage. The actors are in place. The light is dimming. The question is not whether the eclipse will come. The question is, will you be ready when it does? The heavens do not move without purpose, and God does not allow such alignments unless something sacred is being orchestrated. The chosen ones, those who have walked through fire, those who have endured the weight of invisible battles, those who have been set apart for a divine assignment are being summoned to attention. The eclipse is heaven's roll call. The sun, the symbol of vision, clarity, and divine truth, will be momentarily covered. And in that covering, a question will be asked: what will you do when clarity seems to vanish? Will you panic? Will you grasp at shadows? Will you allow the darkness to dictate your choices? Or will you stand rooted, knowing that even when the light is hidden, this source of the light has not abandoned you? This is why the eclipse is dangerous for the unprepared. It seduces the distracted into believing that the shadow is permanent, that the silence of heaven means absence, that the dimming of light means abandonment. But the chosen know better. You are being tested, refined, and measured in this moment. This is not about looking at the sky, it is about heaven looking at you. Do you understand the magnitude of this? God has been building something in secret, weaving destiny in silence, stretching your faith so that when the eclipse arrives, you would not tremble at the temporary absence of light. The enemy will whisper that this is your undoing, but the Spirit whispers that this is your unveiling. The eclipse is not meant to end you, it is meant to expose you. And the only question is, will you pass the test, or will you make the mistake that ruins what God has been preparing for you? The eclipse is not just a celestial wonder, it is a spiritual battleground. When the sun hides, so too does the illusion of certainty. In that moment, the atmosphere shifts. Frequencies distort. Ancient shadows attempt to creep back in. The veil thins and all that is buried in your soul rises to the surface. This is why the ancients feared eclipses, why prophets cried out at their coming, because they knew that the covering of the sun was never just about astronomy. It was a sign, a shaking, a divine interrogation. Are you ready? The chosen ones cannot afford to drift during this hour, because this is when the enemy moves most subtly. He will not come with obvious destruction, but with whispers, distractions, temptations, and familiar patterns trying to pull you back into the old. And here lies the danger. You have come too far to return to what God has already delivered you from. But if you are careless, if you allow yourself to be lulled into sleep during this eclipse window, You risk stepping back into cycles that heaven was trying to break off you forever. Understand this. Eclipses reset timelines. They mark endings and beginnings simultaneously. They slam one door shut while swinging another wide open. And yet not everyone passes through. Some are trapped in the closing. Some are lost in the in-between. And only a few step boldly into the opening. You must be among the few. You cannot treat this like a casual spectacle in the sky. You must see it for what it is. The day heaven leans in to test the fruit of your preparation. The heavens are not against you, chosen one, but they will not carry you if you refuse to rise. You can almost feel it in your chest, can't you? That strange heaviness, that anticipation, that sense that reality itself is holding its breath. That is not your imagination. That is the Spirit of God awakening your discernment, reminding you that this eclipse is not entertainment, it is examination. The mistake most will make is that they will gaze at the sky but ignore the stirring in their soul. They will post photos but miss the prophecy. They will marvel at the shadow but fail to understand what is being revealed in the shadow. But not you, chosen one. You cannot afford to be blind when heaven is opening its eyes toward you. Every trial you have endured, every delay, every door that slammed shut, every season of silence, it was all leading to this checkpoint. God is asking you, will you still trust me when the light dims? Will you still believe when everything looks covered? Will you still stand when shadows try to convince you the sun has vanished forever? This eclipse is not a punishment, it is a proving ground. The heavens are aligning to weigh your faith, to measure your patience, to test your ability to hold steady when others scatter in fear. And here's the secret. The way you posture yourself during this eclipse will echo into the next season of your life. This is not symbolic play acting, this is cosmic legislation. The universe is recording your choices. Heaven is watching your alignment, and your destiny is at stake. If you posture yourself in faith, clarity will follow. If you crumble into fear, the opportunity may pass you by. Hear me clearly. This eclipse is not random. It has been written into the fabric of time itself, orchestrated by the same God who called you before you were formed in your mother's womb. You are standing at the edge of prophecy, and the sky itself is echoing your name. But with this glory comes danger, because the eclipse is not only a sign of breakthrough, it is a test of readiness. The light will disappear, and in that moment, illusions will either crumble or captivate you. Many will be seduced into distraction. Many will be caught in cycles of fear. Many will lose their focus at the exact moment they need to be still, to be sober, to be steadfast. And that is the mistake the Spirit is warning you against: to move without instruction, to panic in the pause, to treat the eclipse as spectacle instead of summons. You must not make that mistake. For if you do, you risk undoing what God has so carefully been building within you. Think of this eclipse as the threshing floor, the place where wheat is separated from chaff, where destiny is separated from distraction, where the chosen are separated from the crowd. The heavens will not wait for you to wake up, they are already moving. This is why the urgency burns in your spirit. This is why your dreams have been unsettled. This is why you feel both excitement and dread at once. Because something sacred is about to unfold, and the heavens are watching to see how you respond. Chosen one, I tell you the truth. This eclipse is not the end of the light. It is the unveiling of your destiny, but the difference between destiny fulfilled and destiny delayed will come down to one thing: what you do when the shadow falls. Chosen one, hear this. Solar eclipses are not just interruptions of light. They are resets of destiny. They are cosmic punctuation marks, moments where heaven rewrites the script, where divine timelines are shifted, collapsed, or accelerated. Every eclipse holds within it the power to close a cycle and open a new one, but not everyone passes through that threshold. Some are carried forward into alignment with their higher purpose, while others are dragged back into karmic loops they were meant to escape. This is why eclipses feel so unsettling, why emotions rise, why strange memories surface, why you feel both exhausted and electric at once. It is because the universe is pressing reset on your souls, timeline. For the chosen ones, this eclipse is not a casual reset. It is the reset. It is the moment God is aligning you with what you were truly born to do. But here's the divine paradox. The reset can propel you forward or fling you backward, depending on how you posture yourself. If you cling to old patterns, old fears, and old identities, the eclipse will solidify them into your next chapter, chaining you to the very cycles you prayed to escape. But if you release, surrender, and trust, the eclipse will fling open doors no man can shut. This is why you cannot afford the mistake of distraction or doubt during this sacred window. The eclipse is a doorway, but not everyone will walk through. The light of the sun being blocked is not a tragedy, it is a teaching. When the sun hides, the universe is asking you to confront the truth of what you cling to when clarity is gone. Light represents vision, certainty, and revelation, and for a moment, all of that will be obscured. But in that obscurity, you are given a sacred opportunity. Will you worship the shadow, or will you trust the source of light even when you cannot see it? The eclipse is heaven's way of showing you the illusion of control. We think we own our time, our plans, our futures, until the sun disappears and we are reminded we are but breath, dependent on the hand of God for every second of light. The covering of the sun strips away false security, demanding that you stand on faith, not on sight. And yet, here lies the paradox. The very act of the sun being covered allows deeper truths to be revealed. What you could not see in constant light becomes visible in the shadow. Secrets hidden in plain sight rise to the surface. This is why eclipses have always been seen as moments of revelation. They expose the unseen, they unveil the spiritual undercurrents, they magnify both the divine and the demonic. The chosen ones are being given a chance to see what is usually hidden, the motives of those around them, the lies they have told themselves, the fears still lurking in their hearts. But revelation always comes at a cost. If you look with carnal eyes, you will see only darkness and fear. If you look with spiritual eyes, you will see the hidden architecture of your destiny. Which vision will you choose, chosen one? For the way you interpret the shadow will determine the shape of your future, Doc. It is a divine filter. Think of it as heaven's sieve, shaking loose everything that cannot enter the next chapter of your life. During this rare alignment, the universe draws a line in the sand. Those who are spiritually awake will step across. Those who are still bound by illusion will remain behind. This is why you feel the weight pressing on your spirit. You are being separated not because you are better than others, but because you are chosen for a different assignment. The eclipse does not merely dim the sun. It exposes what has been, hiding in your shadows. It reveals your true attachments, your hidden doubts, your lingering fears. It will show you whether your faith is rooted in God or in convenience, whether your trust is genuine or conditional, whether your surrender is full or only partial. The eclipse functions as a divine spotlight, shining not outward, but inward, forcing the chosen to face themselves without disguise. And this is the sacred filter. Some will awaken to their calling, while others will cling to their comfort. Some will choose surrender, while others will choose stagnation. And in that choice, destinies will diverge. Hear this clearly, the eclipse is not punishing you, it is positioning you. It is not here to destroy your path, but to ensure you walk the right one. But that means you must pass through the fire of self-examination without flinching. If you resist, if you ignore the signs, if you allow yourself to be distracted, you will fail the filter, and the opportunity may pass you by. But if you yield, if you trust, if you open yourself to the pruning of God, then the eclipse becomes your portal into divine acceleration. This is the separation of wheat from chaff, the division of the awakened from the asleep. And you, chosen one, must decide which side you will stand on when the shadow falls. The eclipse will not only move the heavens above you, it will stir the inner heavens within you. Emotionally, you may feel waves rising without warning, sudden sadness, unexplained anger, bursts of joy, or tears that come from nowhere. Do not be alarmed. This is the eclipse shaking loose what you've buried, pressing hidden emotions to the surface so they can finally be released. Mentally, your thoughts may scatter, old memories may resurface, and your dreams may become more vivid, almost prophetic. This is not chaos, it is clearing. The eclipse is pulling back the curtain, reminding you of unfinished business, exposing the fragments of your mind that need healing. Spiritually, the effect is even more profound. You may feel both attacked and anointed at the same time. You may sense the presence of darkness testing you, whispering lies, while at the same time the presence of God surrounds you like fire, urging you to stand. This tension is the birth canal of your next chapter. It is uncomfortable, it is stretching, it is painful, but it is holy. The eclipse is stripping away the noise so you can hear the subtle frequencies of heaven. This is why you cannot afford to numb yourself, to distract yourself, to drown the stirring with busyness. If you quiet yourself in this hour, you will hear whispers you could not hear before. If you stay awake in the spirit, you will see signs you could not see before. But if you run from the discomfort, you will miss the revelation. Do not misinterpret the turbulence. What feels like pressure is actually preparation. What feels like breaking is actually birthing. The eclipse is not harming you. It is harmonizing you with heaven. The eclipse magnifies everything hidden, both the divine and the deceptive. It will shine an unrelenting light on the illusions you have been carrying, while at the same time illuminating the seeds of God's promises planted deep within your soul. You may feel your spirit torn between two worlds, one world of truth and clarity, another world of fear and doubt. This is intentional. The eclipse acts as a cosmic mirror, reflecting back what has been ignored, denied, or suppressed. Relationships, opportunities, habits, even the whispers of your own heart, all will be magnified. Do not be deceived into thinking that the shadows are permanent. They are only temporary exposures revealing what must be released so you can step into your divine inheritance. Pay attention to what rises now. The people who drain your energy, the thoughts that hold you captive, the dreams that no longer serve your calling. The eclipse is not here to punish you. It is here to purify you. But if you fail to recognize these truths, if you cling to comfort instead of courage, you risk binding yourself to patterns the universe has already decided to dissolve. Heaven is calling you to clarity, to honesty, to radical alignment with your spiritual path. The chosen ones are being tested not just by what they see, but by what they choose to do with what they see. Will you use this revelation to ascend, or will you let fear dictate your reaction? The shadow is temporary, but the choices you make during this window will echo far beyond the eclipse, shaping the trajectory of your entire destiny. The universe has aligned the stars, the moon and the sun so that your soul's timeline intersects perfectly with heaven's plan. This is divine acceleration, a moment where months, even years, of preparation can be condensed into a single spiritual pivot. But with acceleration comes intensity. Every hidden truth, every unresolved emotion, every lingering doubt, every misalignment will surface now. The universe is impatient for your alignment because it knows the urgency of your assignment. The heavens are opening doors, but they require you to move with discernment. You cannot wander aimlessly, nor can you allow fear or distraction to steal the momentum God is offering. Those who honor this timing, who use this cosmic pulse to recalibrate their hearts, minds, and spirits will find themselves catapulted into realms previously reserved for the faithful. But those who ignore it, who sleep through it, who act in chaos or impulse, risk misaligning with their destiny. The eclipse is a cosmic checkpoint, a spiritual acceleration point, a divine invitation to step into your highest calling. Every thought, every word, every intention during this hour carries weight beyond measure. Chosen one, the spiritual currents are strong, and your response will either ride the wave or be pulled under by inertia. You cannot treat this as ordinary, for ordinary souls are left behind. This is why the eclipse feels so heavy, so urgent, so almost unbearable. The pressure is not punishment, it is preparation. The speed of transformation is blinding, but the faithful will see the light beyond the shadow. The moon's shadow upon the sun is more than a natural phenomenon. It is a heavenly signal that certain energies must be released. Certain truths must be embraced and certain alignments must be honored. The eclipse calls forth the chosen. Not the distracted, not the complacent, not the lukewarm. It calls those whose souls have been tested and refined. Those who have walked through fire and emerged standing. Those who are ready to receive what heaven has been preparing in secret. Every eclipse is a reset, but this one is a filter. The filter separates readiness from hesitation, clarity from confusion, courage from fear. The emotional turbulence you feel, the mental unrest, the spiritual stirring, all are signposts guiding you toward alignment. God is inviting you to see yourself clearly, to see your path clearly, and to see the forces at work around you clearly. The cosmic forces at play do not wait for human understanding. They act with precision, with purpose, and with divine timing. You, chosen one, are being positioned at the center of this sacred alignment. But with this positioning comes responsibility. To remain vigilant, to honor the Spirit's guidance, and to avoid the trap of distraction or fear. This is why the mistake I've been warning you about is so critical. One wrong step during this eclipse, one lapse in discernment, and what God has been weaving for you in secret could be delayed or even derailed. This is your moment to awaken fully, to embrace the cosmic currents, and to step boldly into the destiny that has been written for you long before the stars themselves were placed in the sky. The first mistake to avoid during this eclipse is falling into fear, chaos, or distraction. When the sun is hidden and the sky seems uncertain, the enemy will try to exploit your vulnerability. He will whisper lies that the shadow is permanent, that your path is lost, that your prayers are unanswered. He will tempt you to scroll, to gossip, to panic, to make decisions from anxiety rather than divine guidance. But this is a trap, a spiritual snare designed to derail everything God has been preparing in secret. The chosen are called to a higher standard, to remain steadfast when others waver, to stay rooted in faith when confusion rises, to walk in stillness when the storm of energies whirls around them. Chaos is seductive because it gives the illusion of movement, but in truth, it scatters your spiritual energy and misaligns your destiny. The eclipse is a sacred checkpoint, not a casual event, and your response will determine whether you ascend into clarity or stumble into delay. You must protect your spirit from the pull of fear. You must hold your thoughts captive to the truth, not the lies. You must see the shadow for what it is, temporary, purposeful, and divinely orchestrated. One slip into panic, one moment of distraction, one surrender to fear, and the momentum of heaven can be lost. But if you remain vigilant, if you anchor yourself in the Spirit, if you posture your heart toward God even when the sun is hidden, the eclipse becomes not a threat but a sacred opportunity for elevation. The eclipse exposes patterns that have been lingering beneath the surface, those habits, reactions, and relationships that no longer serve your highest purpose. You may feel the pull of familiar comforts, the seduction of old grudges, or the echo of decisions you swore you would never make again. But the heavens are speaking now. You cannot step into your next assignment while clinging to what God has already removed from your life. Every time you repeat an old pattern, you delay the manifestation of your destiny. Every time you recycle fear, anger, or doubt, you weaken the alignment heaven is orchestrating for you. The eclipse is like a divine mirror reflecting not only your potential but also your resistance. It will show you where you have stumbled, where you have compromised, and where you have allowed yourself to drift back into what was meant to be left behind. You must recognize the cycle for what it is, an opportunity to break free, a test of your spiritual maturity, a moment to choose alignment over comfort, faith over familiarity. The chosen cannot afford to be passive during this window. The energies of the eclipse amplify both repetition and release. If you cling to the old, the universe magnifies its power, keeping you tethered to stagnation. But if you consciously step out of the cycle, if you surrender patterns that no longer serve, the eclipse accelerates your growth. purifies your path, and opens doors that were previously sealed. Do not underestimate the cost of this moment. Every choice, every thought, every subtle compromise can either propel you forward or hold you back during this sacred alignment. The Spirit will whisper with subtlety, nudging your heart, stirring your thoughts, and aligning your choices with heaven's plan. But if you turn away, dismiss the nudges, or rationalize them away, you risk walking blind into the shadows. The eclipse magnifies intuition is a spiritual amplifier designed to separate the aligned from the distracted, the faithful from the faithless. You may feel a pull to act, to speak, to move, to decide, but pause first and listen. The chosen hear the hidden currents of God's will and do not act impulsively. To ignore these divine signals is to place yourself outside of grace, to misstep when every detail of your response matters. The enemy will tempt you to override your inner knowing with fear, logic, or the voice of the world, but this is precisely the moment to choose spirit over sense, soul over ego. The eclipse is both a test and a revelation. It reveals where your faith is weak and strengthens it if you respond rightly. Listen carefully to the quiet promptings that come in prayer, in stillness, in meditation. They are the compass pointing you toward your destiny. To disregard them is not merely unwise, it is dangerous, for what God has been preparing can be delayed by one moment of inattention. Chosen one, your intuition is the voice of heaven in your chest. Your inner guidance is the chain linking you to divine timing. Do not break it. During this eclipse, obedience to that voice is the difference between stepping into your calling fully or stumbling into delay. The eclipse strips away the veil of illusion, and in that stripping, what is not of God will attempt to cling to you with greater force. Old relationships that drain your spirit, habits that enslave you, or doubts that whisper you are not ready, all will rise to the surface in this sacred window. The enemy knows the power of this alignment and will try to distract you by attaching your focus to what is destructive, false, or misaligned. But the chosen are called to discernment. You cannot allow what is poisonous to steal the momentum of heaven. The energies you give shape your reality. If you pour your attention into fear, anger, resentment, or distraction, the divine currents of the eclipse cannot lift you into your next season. But if you conserve your energy, redirect it toward prayer, clarity, and alignment, the eclipse becomes a conveyor of blessings, opportunities, and revelation. God is speaking through this alignment, but his voice can be drowned out if you allow toxic energy to dominate your field. The shadow of the sun may obscure the sky, but it cannot obscure the truth that God has placed inside you. Choose wisely where you give your energy. Choose wisely who you allow to influence your heart. Choose wisely the thoughts and doubts you entertain. During this rare eclipse, every choice matters. Every ounce of spiritual energy you spend either propels you forward or anchors you in delay. Do not underestimate the subtlety of this test. The chosen ones rise by focusing on the sacred, by releasing the profane, and by trusting that what remains aligned with God will flourish when the light returns. The shadow that passes over the sun is a teacher, not a deceiver, but the world will tempt you to misinterpret it. You may see temporary setbacks, confusion, or emotional turbulence and think that God has abandoned you, that your efforts were in vain, that your prayers have fallen silent. This is the deception of the enemy, and it is strongest in moments like these, when the divine currents are stirring. Most intensely, the eclipse exposes both what is false and what is real, but only the spiritually awake can discern the difference. Those who believe the illusions will act in fear, make decisions that misalign with their destiny, and potentially undo the progress God has been orchestrating in secret. But the chosen know better. You see beyond the surface. You hear beyond the clamor. You feel the subtle pulse of heaven, the gentle rhythm of divine timing, and you act in alignment with what is eternal rather than temporary. The eclipse is a divine revelation, a moment where clarity is magnified if you keep your gaze on God and your heart tethered to faith. Do not mistake the passing shadow for absence, nor the intensity of emotion for failure. Truth will emerge, but only for those who do not grasp at illusions. Your assignment, your breakthrough, your next season, they are waiting for you on the other side of discernment. The eclipse will pass, but the consequences of believing falsehood over truth will linger if you are careless. Chosen one, do not stumble here. Trust what God is revealing, even when the sky looks dark, even when fear whispers louder than hope. The mistakes you make during this eclipse are not trivial. They carry weight in both the spiritual and earthly realms. Falling into fear, repeating old cycles, ignoring divine guidance, giving energy to toxicity, or believing illusions over truth, any of these can derail the momentum God has been building in your life. The eclipse is a spiritual magnifier, amplifying both alignment and misalignment. What may seem like a small lapse, one moment of doubt, one unguarded thought, one emotional surrender, can ripple through your destiny like a stone cast into still water. But here is the hope and the power. These mistakes are avoidable if you choose awareness, obedience, and faith. This sacred moment is not just about what you resist. It is also about what you embrace. The eclipse is a divine invitation to rise above the old, to tune your spirit to heaven, and to position yourself for acceleration into your next assignment. The chosen do not merely survive this alignment. They thrive, they ascend, they step into a clearer, more potent version of their purpose. And the difference between those who falter and those who soar will be the deliberate choices made in these sacred hours. Choosing stillness over reaction, discernment over assumption, faith over fear, truth over illusion. You are being watched, tested, and prepared. The heavens are leaning in to see if your spirit is ready to move with divine timing. The mistakes I have outlined are not suggestions. They are traps, carefully set to divert the unprepared. But for you, chosen one, awareness is armor, obedience is protection, and faith is a sword. Now is the time to prepare, to align, and to commit fully to what God has been orchestrating. One wrong step can cost momentum. One right step can open portals previously unimaginable. The first strategy to align with God's plan during this eclipse is ritual prayer, fasting, and meditation. These are not mere traditions. They are spiritual tools designed to elevate your vibration, clear your inner temple, and attune your heart to the frequency of heaven. Prayer connects you directly to the source, a lifeline of guidance and protection. In the midst of the eclipse's intense spiritual currents, fasting is a purification, a way to release old attachments, cravings, and distractions so your spirit can move freely in alignment with divine timing. Meditation is your anchor, your inner stillness, the quiet space where the whispers of the spirit become audible above the chaos. During the sacred window, commit to these practices with intention and devotion. The energies of the eclipse amplify both spiritual effort and spiritual neglect. If you embrace these rituals, your faith is fortified, your discernment sharpened, and your path illuminated. If you neglect them, the shadows may feel overwhelming, your choices blurred, your momentum slowed. This is why the chosen cannot treat this time lightly. Ritual is not superstition. It is alignment. It is a declaration to heaven. I am ready. I am awake. I will move with your plan, not my fear. Choose prayer, fasting, and meditation now, as obligation, but as preparation for the elevation God has reserved for you. In these sacred acts, you are fortified against the mistakes, distractions, and illusions that seek to derail you. You are drawing divine light into your life even as the sun itself is hidden. This is not coincidence. It is strategy. It is heavens designed to empower the faithful, the obedient, the chosen. The second strategy to align with God's plan during this eclipse is grounding and protection. The cosmic energies swirling in this moment are intense, and if your spirit is unanchored, you risk being tossed by currents meant to elevate you. Grounding is your lifeline. It is the practice of connecting your energy to the earth, to stability, to the physical body that carries your divine purpose. Walk barefoot if you can, touch the soil, breathe deeply, and visualize roots descending from your spine deep into the earth, anchoring you in strength, clarity, and presence. Protection is equally vital. Shield yourself with prayer, light, and faith. Surround your energy with the intention of divine guardian. Say with authority, I am covered by the blood of God. I am guided by the Spirit. I am untouchable by darkness. The eclipse amplifies both light and shadow, and you must be deliberate in your alignment. Toxic energies, doubts, and fears will rise to challenge you, but when you are grounded and protected, you will remain unshaken. The chosen do not merely float through this celestial moment. They stand firm, immovable, fully prepared for the revelation, acceleration, and destiny, waiting on the other side. This is not optional. The eclipse magnifies the power of preparation and the consequence of neglect. You cannot hope to walk through the doorway of divine opportunity without a stable foundation and a shield of spiritual authority. Grounding and protection are your armor. Without them, even the smallest ripple of doubt can throw you off the path. With them, you become a vessel ready to receive heaven's promises, capable of navigating both shadow and light with unwavering clarity. The third strategy to align with God's plan during this eclipse is intention setting with clarity and faith. This is the moment to speak directly to heaven and declare what you are ready to receive, release, and step into. Your words, thoughts, and focus act like spiritual magnets during this cosmic alignment, drawing blessings, opportunities, and divine guidance into your reality. But the key is clarity. Do not set intentions from fear, doubt, or lack. Set them from the place of knowing who you are in God, who you are becoming, and what the universe has been preparing for you in secret. Be specific, be bold, be unwavering. Write down your intentions, pray over them, meditate on them, and visualize them manifesting in perfect divine timing. And as you set these intentions, infuse them with faith, knowing that what you release in alignment with God's will return to you multiplied. The eclipse magnifies both the intentions you set and the misalignments you hold, so choose wisely. The chosen are not passive participants. They are active co-creators with heaven, partners in the unfolding of destiny. This is why intention setting during this sacred window is so powerful. It signals to the universe that you are awake, that you are aligned, and that you are ready to receive the acceleration God has been orchestrating. Every thought, every word, every act of faith counts. Do not underestimate this moment, chosen one. Your intentions are seeds planted in sacred soil. The eclipse is the water and sunlight that will make them grow if you nurture them with clarity, focus, and trust, the final strategy to align with. God's plan during this eclipse is to remain still, observant, and spiritually sober. This is a time for heightened awareness, not for haste or distraction. The heavens are moving, and the currents of divine energy are surging all around you. But only those who are fully present can receive the messages, the clarity, and the momentum being offered. Resist the urge to act impulsively, to chase distractions, or to respond from emotion rather than spirit. Be still. Watch the patterns unfolding within yourself and in the world around you. Observe without judgment, discern without haste, and hold your heart steady even when the energies feel overwhelming. Spiritual sobriety means maintaining full conscious alignment with God, refusing to be swayed by fear, doubt, or illusion. The eclipse will test this like no other moment. The chosen will either rise in clarity or stumble into confusion. The smallest lapse in focus, the slightest distraction, can result in missed opportunity, delayed destiny, or spiritual setback. But those who stand in stillness, who watch and listen, who remain sober and attentive, will find themselves in perfect alignment with heaven's unfolding plan. This is not passive waiting, it is active presence. The chosen know that the sun may be hidden, but their soul cannot be. They understand that clarity is born in the shadow, revelation emerges in the pause, and divine momentum flows to those who are vigilant. The eclipse is a portal, and stillness is the key. Do not move too soon. Do not act too rashly. Observe, trust, align, and be ready to step forward only when God signals the moment. This Eclipse is a once-in-a-lifetime convergence where the plans of heaven intersect with the timelines of Earth. This is not a repeatable moment, not a casual alignment, not a cosmic rehearsal. The currents of destiny are flowing now, and they will not pause for the unprepared. What God has been orchestrating for your life, what the universe has been weaving in secret, is reaching a critical threshold. One wrong choice, one lapse in spiritual awareness, one surrender to fear or distraction, and the acceleration of your destiny could be delayed, diminished, or denied. But for those who are awake, aligned, and fully present, the rewards are beyond comprehension. Clarity where there was confusion, liberation where there was bondage, revelation where there was hidden truth. This is the hour when heaven leans close to see who will rise and who will stumble, who will trust and who will falter, who will embrace the shadow with faith and who will recoil in fear. You, chosen one, are being given a sacred window, a portal through which your destiny can advance with divine momentum. The eclipse does not linger, and neither does this opportunity. You must prepare, focus, and align now because the forces of heaven are moving with precision and power. This is why every prayer, every act of discernment, every moment of stillness matters exponentially more than you can yet perceive. The heavens have conspired for your awakening, but only those who honor the sacred timing will move into the fullness of what has been prepared for them. The shadow may pass quickly, but the effects of your choices will ripple across your life for years to come. The urgency cannot be overstated. This is the moment when heaven's plan collides with your personal timeline, and the stakes are eternal. The eclipse is more than a celestial event, it is a divine checkpoint, a spiritual crossroads where decisions will echo far beyond the passage of the shadow. What you do, how you posture your heart, and the clarity with which you align with God in this sacred window will determine whether you step fully into the destiny prepared for you or remain tethered to delay, doubt, and illusion. This is why the chosen cannot hesitate. This is why the Spirit is pressing, whispering, nudging, warning. The currents of destiny are swift and they favor the faithful, the awake, the obedient. You cannot afford distraction, fear, or compromise. Every second matters. Every thought matters. Every act of faith matters. The eclipse is both opportunity and test, and only those who approach it with reverence, discipline, and clarity will pass through to the next chapter of their spiritual journey. The heavens are watching, the universe is orchestrating, and God is ready to release what has been reserved for you in secret. But if you falter, if you act in ignorance, if you allow illusion to cloud your discernment, the momentum can be lost. This is why your preparation must be absolute, your focus unwavering, your surrender complete. The window is narrow. The portal is open, but it will not wait. Chosen one, this is your moment to rise, to align, to step boldly into what heaven has been orchestrating since before the foundations of the world got here. This, as if heaven itself is speaking directly into your soul. This eclipse is not just covering. The sun is uncovering your destiny. Every shadow, every moment of darkness, every trembling in your spirit is part of a divine unveiling. The mistakes you avoid, the faith you uphold, the stillness you maintain, the guidance you follow, they will either accelerate you into the fullness of God's plan or delay what has been carefully prepared for you in secret. The universe has spoken. The heavens have aligned. God has orchestrated every timing, every whisper, every invisible thread leading to this sacred window. Do not allow fear to blind you. Do not allow distraction to seduce you. Do not allow illusions to deceive you. The light may be hidden, but your soul cannot be. The shadow will pass, but what you choose to do during it will leave a permanent mark on your destiny. This is your divine assignment, your sacred test, your moment of awakening. Step boldly, step faithfully, step in alignment with God and the currents of the universe. The world will not pause. Time will not wait. But the faithful, the chosen ones will rise. This eclipse is the doorway, and you, chosen one, are called to walk through it fully awake, fully aligned, fully empowered. Do not let one mistake ruin what God has been building for you. The universe has spoken. Now, it's your move. The sun will return, the shadows will fade, and your destiny will be revealed, but only for those who honor this sacred hour. Step forward, chosen one, and claim what heaven has prepared.